Hi, everyone. I wanted to highlight a few resources that I was connected with um, through the AYA Center. I had an opportunity to speak with a nutritionist. Really good conversation. The beauty of these referrals is a lot of these referrals I was able to do telephonic, so I didn't have to go in and meet in their office. And with a schedule that's already extremely busy, that was a huge benefit to be able to do that. And so yeah, I was able to speak with a nutritionist. We talked a lot about just foods that I need to incorporate in my diet to keep my blood cell count up. Just because with the chemotherapy, there are, the chemo is going to break down the healthy cells. And so, you need to be eating the right kinds of food to be able to rebuild your cells and, be in a situation to where, you can continue through with your treatments. So we talked a lot about that. We talked about bone health. We talked about like just types of food that you can eat when you're feeling nauseous or if you have vomiting and things like that. So far I hadn't had any of that, but it is good to know some food options that can help. She gave me some resources in terms of like websites that I can check out as well that would be able to help with that. So again, yeah, overall, really good conversation with the nutritionist. I did want to dive in a whole lot more with her in terms of like really good in terms of like cancer fighting foods, or foods that are like linked to, high risk cancers, things like that. She did not provide a lot of information about that. So I will have to continue to, research my own thing on that. Like I did she ended up like mailing me some resources. And so there is a pamphlet in there that talks about like, foods that have like cancer fighting things, but it's like, I feel like it's kind of generic. It wasn't like a real like deep course, I guess I can say, into like, this food has been known to have this in it, which breaks down that, that kind of thing, which that's understandable. That's no fault to her. So again, really good thing to be able to talk to a nutritionist. We talked about foods to avoid in terms of like my sushi. Oh my gosh. Love sushi, but because I am possibly going to be immunocompromised with my cells being low, it is not a good idea to consume like undercooked food. So from sushi to the way that I like my burgers prepared, to like, raw seafood, oysters, again, sushi, things like that. Won't be able to consume that while I'm going through treatment. And, that kind of sucks a little bit. We talked about the importance of fluids, drinking a lot of water. I have been drinking a lot of water throughout this so far. So I told her I have no issue with being able to do that. And so she said, keep up with that, push the fluids. You need a lot of fluids to help, flush your system, and just your body just requires a lot of water in general. So, that's a no-brainer. We talked about the importance of eating like all my meals, or getting all your meals in, all your nutrition in, throughout, treatment, and just, kind of changing that cycle of skipping meals just in general. I have been known to skip meals, which isn't good for your metabolism. It's not good nutritionally for you either. And so we just talked about the importance of not skipping meals, getting all my meals in, bone health, calcium, some of the medications, especially like the injections that I get to help build my cells back up at the end of the cycles. That can also cause like bone problems. And so it's important to increase the calcium in my diet and have really good overall bone health. So again, really good conversation with the nutritionist. These are all the like food and nutrition resources that the nutritionist sent. Have a few recipes, things that talk about white blood cell count, plant-based diet, just what you should know about nutrition and breast health, bone health. So just some, just some educational resources that I can utilize as I begin this journey with fighting the cancer. Another person that I had an opportunity to speak with was the social worker. And not that I had any needs specific or anything, but basically, like, I keep telling them, like, I don't know what I don't know. And so, like, when I'm getting asked, like, what questions do you have? Well, I have some questions, but then it's, again, the I don't know what I don't know. And so what else do I need to be thinking about? What else do I need to be considering as I'm going down this, this path, this journey? And so, we discussed, talking to a social worker just to kind of assess if there are any other needs or any other resources that I could benefit from. And so when I spoke with the social worker, we talked about my children. That's been a big thing for me, just, trying to understand how they may be feeling through this, and making sure that they have the resources that they need to, to talk through what we're all going through, because cancer doesn't just affect me, it affects the whole family. And so she said that we could have the opportunity to talk with a psychologist, and, have, like, basically therapy available for the children as well. So that was really good to know. She also wanted to go ahead and, like, talk about, like, the financial concerns that, a lot of cancer patients will have along the journey, because a chronic condition or a chronic diagnosis like cancer can be such a huge financial strain on families. And so we discussed resources that are out there should that become an issue. Right now, I don't have an issue with it. I have a different type of plan, and that's stressful. I'm going to talk about that again on a whole separate subject just for that. But from my understanding, my plan covers pretty much everything that I'm going through. It's just a matter that I have to file my claims myself and then wait to be reimbursed on a lot of the things that I'm going through, because Prisma, the healthcare system, does not want to file my claims with the Christian health plan or Christian Health Share Network. So that's that. Our call, we just kind of talked about, like, the stress and the anxiety that's, just sometimes there, and just, the feelings of feeling like, why do I have to go through this? But then understanding that, hey, it's happening whether I understand or not. So again, just, having an opportunity to possibly talk to a psychologist probably may be good to kind of work through those thoughts. But of course, I have my faith as well. And so even the days where I am feeling superhuman, super, flesh in my thoughts, and not really like, being extremely deep and spiritual and questioning things, like, I immediately kind of come back to, I know where my source comes from. I know that God is a healer and his promises are true. And so, regardless of what I'm feeling right now in the natural, I know that ultimately everything is going to be okay. And so, I feel like she felt like, okay, well, we had a good conversation, but I don't know if she necessarily felt like she could truly help me right now, other than just, providing other resources that may be available to me, which is good. I mean, that's good to me. The last person that I want to tie in, I just kind of tied all three of these into one video, just because, there's no need to, like, make a separate one, because these conversations were pretty short between all three of them, but they did have some really good points and provided some really good resources. And so I did want to share those, and, share those three people that I was connected with, and, like, just in general what those conversations were like, just because, someone else might be out there that wasn't aware of some services that may be out, and at least you can ask your provider to see if these things are available to you as well. Prisma Health has a child life specialist that reached out to me as well. In addition to the nutritionist, the social worker, had the opportunity to speak with her to just kind of, again, discuss the effects of cancer or a cancer diagnosis on like the children and the family. And she was able to mail me some really good resources that could be beneficial in terms of like being able to speak with the children about what's going on. I am going to do a video on that as well. That's a very, very heavy topic and definitely something that's going to take more than just about 10 minutes, I feel like, because I want them to have the opportunity to express how they were feeling as well. But just, just real quick, I am a person who has lost a parent. And so my experience was very traumatic in terms of like not knowing what was really going on. And so I wanted to be extremely honest with them and give them the facts early on in my diagnosis. And so that's what I did. But ultimately it's still a whole lot that goes into, kind of working through those feelings and what's going on. So she did send me this book. Did want to highlight that as a resource. And so it's a really good resource, a really good book to read in terms of like, having like a conversation with children and knowing how to start that conversation. Sorry, the book is called A Tiny Boat at Sea. A Tiny Boat at Sea is what it's called. I'll tag it as well or try to include it down below as well. But yeah, A Tiny Boat at Sea, and it's how to help children who have a parent diagnosed with cancer by Izetta Smith. I guess that's how you pronounce her name. Hope I'm not saying that wrong. But yeah, this is a good one as well to kind of help start that conversation. These are the resources that I got from the child life specialist through Prisma. Just some really good resources for talking with the children about cancer and just kind of like how to talk to your children and how to be mindful of what they may be feeling and just some other retreat type things like the camp and things like that. So yeah, really good conversation with nutritionist, child life specialist, and social worker. So just wanted to share those things really quick. Thank you guys. Like, comment, share, subscribe, continue to follow along, and I will share like I'm doing already. So thank you guys. I'll be checking back in with everything else that's going along. Thank you.